Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Mushida Hazrani binti Firuzaki. So today my group mates and I will present about cybercrime in distributed denial of service, also known as DDoS. Cybercrime is any illegal behavior that involves, targets, or otherwise involves a computer network, or network devices performed by hackers or cybercriminals.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I am Nurida Afifah binti Zulfika Alihan and my student ID is 2020449434. So next, I will be presenting the objective of our study. So basically, the aim of our study is to highlight the causes of cyber attacks, especially regarding DDoS attacks, and at the same time, to help us understanding the alternative precautions as a way to decide and make a suggestion for how those organizations will be able to reduce the impact of cyber attacks. So what is DDoS attack? So briefly, this action can be simplified as an attempt by the attacker to create so much traffic and congestion to their targeted server, service, or networks. So DDoS attacks are often carried out by sophisticated cyber thieves who use multiple compromised computers as sources of attack traffic. When viewed from a distance, a DDoS assault resembles an unexpected traffic congestion that blocks the roadway and keeps ordinary traffic from reaching the destination. So, how does a DDoS attack work? DDoS attacks are carried out with networks of internet-connected machines. Zombie networks or botnets are networks of hijacked computers and other devices that have been infected with malware, which is allow them to be controlled remotely by the attacker. Once a botnet has been established, the attacker is able to direct an attack by sending remote instruction to each bot. When a victim's server or network is targeted by the botnet, each bot sends requests to the target's IP address, and this can cause traffic to become overwhelmed, resulting in a denial of service to normal traffic. Next, I will be explaining the application layer attacks. Sometimes the objective of the attacks is just to exhaust the target's resources in order to produce a denial of service. As mentioned, when a victim server or network is targeted by the botnet, each bot sends requests to the targeted IP address, which is it will resulting in a denial of service to the normal traffic. Given is the 7th layer of the OSI model. So, the first layer is called physical layer. It transmits raw bit stream over the physical medium. The second layer is called data link layer that defines the format of data on the network. The third layer is called network layer that decides which physical path the data will take. The fourth layer is transport layer where transmit data using transmission protocols including TCP and UDP. Session layer maintains connection and is responsible for controlling ports and sessions. Presentation layer ensures that data is in a usable format and is where data encryption occurs. And lastly, application layer, where human-computer interaction layer, an application can access the network services. The figure above is trying to illustrate how the botnet is trying to attack the targeted victim using the HTTP flood. So basically, HTTP link usually become the primary source by the attacker to cause an assault, even though a single HTTP request is computationally cheap to process on a client side. The target server may charge a fee to respond, since it frequently loads many files and makes database query to generate a web page. Simpler systems might use the same set of attacker IP addresses, referrals, and user agents to access to a single URL. When targeting random URLs with complex version, a huge number of attacking IP addresses, random referrals, and various user agents may be used.
Hi, Assalamualaikum. My name is Fatia Nuraina binti Mama Amarizan, matric number 2020837172. Today I will present my part, which is prevention of DDoS attack. Cyber attacks are inexpensive, simple to carry out, and frequently offer little danger in execution, but their damage can be long-lasting. The low attribution is due to the immature nature of tracing cyber attacks in today's network architecture. A distributed denial of service assault that is effective will have a significant impact on the whole internet user base. This makes it a preferred tool for cyber vandals, activists, and anybody wanting to further an agenda, or make a statement. DDoS attacks are becoming one of the most dangerous to the internet. DDoS attacks are unavoidable, and cybercriminals will launch an attack regardless of the protection in place. Some will strike their targets. However, you may take preventive precautions on your own, such as first, preventive actions, network monitoring. Monitoring your network traffic is one of the most effective preventive measures. Regular traffic monitoring will help you to detect indicator of an attack before the service goes down altogether. You'll be able to take action if you monitor your traffic and notice unexpected data traffic volumes or an unfamiliar IP address. This can mean the difference between being taken offline and remaining online. Next, execute DDoS attack. Unfortunately, you will not be able to stop every DDoS attack, and you may, however, ensure that you're ready if an attack occurs. Simulating DDoS attacks on your network is one of the most direct methods. Simulating an attack allows you to evaluate your present preventive tactics and develop real-time preventive strategies that can save you a lot of money if a simple assault occurs. Last but not least, create a plan for post-attack response. If an assault is launched, you must have the plan to handle the damage control. A well thought out strategy can be the difference between an inconvenient and deadly attack. As part of your strategy, you should assign responsibilities to individuals in your team who will be accountable for responding in the event of an attack. This involves developing customer assistance protocols so that consumers are not left hanging while you deal with technological issues. Next, this is the DDoS attacks in worldwide examples. First, the 2020 Google attack. Second, the February 2018 DDoS attacks on GitHub. The 2020 Google attack. Google Threat Analysis Group TAG published a blog update on October 16, 2020, outlining how threats and threat actors adapt their strategies in light of the 2020 presidential election. The business slipped a comment at the end of the article. The most excellent bandwidth attack we were aware of in 2022 was measured by our security reliability engineering team and originated from many Chinese ISPs. The attack on hundreds of Google IP addresses mounted from 3 Chinese ISPs lasted 6 months and peaked at a mind-blowing 2.5 Tbps. Next, the February 2018 DDoS attacks on GitHub. GitHub, a famous online code management site used by millions of developers, was the subject of one of the most significant verifiable DDoS attacks on record. The attack reached 1.3 Tbps by transmitting 126.9 million packets per second. The attack on GitHub was memcached DDoS attacks, meaning no botnets were engaged. Instead, the attacker utilized the amplification effect of the memcache, a popular database caching technology. By flooding memcache servers with bogus requests, the attackers were able to increase the volume of their attack by around 5,000 times. Fortunately, GitHub utilized a DDoS protection provider which was instantly notified within 10 minutes on the attack commencing. This alert initiated the mitigation process, and GitHub was able to stop the attack immediately. The massive DDoS attacks lasted approximately 20 minutes. Next, cybercrime, offense relating to misuse of computers. The first ever dedicated law designed to combat cybercrime was passed in Malaysia in 1997 under the Computer Crimes Act, or CCA. To put it another way, the CCA records hacking operations such as making viruses or malware for hacking, using hacking tools to access Wi-Fi connections or credit card information, denial of service attacks where hackers try to prevent users from accessing the network service, sometimes out of commercial Next, electronic theft is an example of hacking, where hackers or misusers steal a business size, company size, or even industrial size database. Depending on the offense committed, the penalty might include a fine of 25k to 150k, 3 to 10 years in jail, or both.
In protocol attacks, it aims to limit a server's resources or those of its networking apparatus, such as firewalls, routing engines, or load balancers. It also attacks using SYN flood through TCP handshake. And in SYN flood attack, the attacker overwhelms the server with a lot of SYN packets, and each of which contains a fake ID addresses. The packet each will receive a response from the server through SYN ACKs, asking the clients to finish the handshake. The attack crushed the excess of time since the response is slow.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I'm Sweetie Noraisha Hatijuso. We'll continue this presentation with volumetric attack. Volumetric DDoS attack use extremely high volume of malicious traffic to overrun internal network capacity and even centralized DDoS mitigations scrubbing facilities. It is measured in bits per second, which is bps. These types of DDoS attack are intended to overrun the network's capacity with high traffic volumes. The attack causes congestions with extremely high bandwidth of up to 100 gigabytes per second or more. Volumetric attacks are usually directed at a specific target, such as critical service provider, which is SP, services, or enterprise customer. It was highly skilled attacker frequently combined volumetric DDoS attack with application layer attacks to conceal the more focused application layer attacks that can cause the most damage. In volumetric attack, there are 5 types, which is the first one is ICMP fluid, second IP or ICMP fragmentation, third IPsec fluid, fourth UDP fluid, and the last one is reflection amplification attack. The first type of volumetric DDoS attack is ICMP fluid. It is an Internet Control Message Protocol, which is IMP fluid DDoS attack, also known as a ping fluid attack. Is a common denial of service attack in which an attacker attempts to overrun a target device with ICMP echo request, which is ping. ICMP echo requests and echo reply message are typically use a network device in order to diagnose the device health and connectivity, as well as the sender and the device. The second types of volumetric attack is IP or ICMP fragmentation. It is an Internet Protocol or Internet Control Message Protocol. Fragmentation DDoS attack is a common form of volumetric denial of service attack. It can occur when IP datagrams are split into small packets, sent across a network, and then reassembled into the original datagram as part of normal communications. This process is required to meet the size limits that each network can support. This is referred to as a maximum transmission unit, which is MTU. IP fragmentation can be used by an attacker to target communication system as well as security components. Third type is IPsec fluid. What is IPsec fluid? It is Internet Protocol Security is a secure network protocol suite that is primarily used to establish VPN connection across untrusted networks. To ensure secure connection, IPsec employs the Internet Key Exchange (IKE) protocol, which authenticates and encrypts data packets sent over an Internet protocol network. Those flooding DDoS attacks against IPsec were common a few years ago, but with the adoption of IKE, this type of volumetric DDoS attacks have become largely ineffective. The fourth type is UDP fluid. UDP fluid is a type of attack which the attacker sends IP packets containing user datagram protocol, which is UDP, packets to random ports on the host. The host search for applications associated with this datagram. When none are found, the host returns to the sender destination unreachable packets. The system becomes inundated and thus unresponsive to legitimate traffic as a result of being bombarded by a flood. And the last one is reflections amplification attack. A reflection attack involves an attacker spoof a target IP address and send a request for information using the user datagram protocol or the transmission control protocol. After that, the server responds to the request by sending an answer to the target's IP address. The term reflection attack refers to the use of the same protocol in both directions. Any server that provides UDP or TCP-based services can be used as a reflector. Adequate DDoS mitigation solutions can help mitigate this type of attacks.
In conclusion, a DDoS attacks occurs when attackers or attackers attempt to prevent a service from being supplied. This can be accomplished by restricting access to almost anything, including servers, devices, services, network, apps, and even individual transactions inside applications. DDoS attack is a malicious attempt to disrupt regular traffic to a specific server, service, or network by flooding the target or its surrounding infrastructure with internet traffic. DDoS security is critical since a DDoS assault on a network would result in losing data, assets, and other resources. That's all. Thank you.